Hi, everyone. Thanks for all of you who have joined us so far. We're really excited about the session today. Last time it was just a session where you heard from me, but today I'm joined by some amazing people, so I'm really looking forward to it. In the session today, we're going to be talking about our collaboration with the DiRoots team and the work we're doing with them to enable you to reuse Revit data within Morta. And then we're going to be hearing also from the team from Digital Guerrilla, who are going to be talking about how they are using it. Because really, they were the team that actually introduced us to DiRoots and that encouraged this collaboration. So we thought that it's only right for them to be the people to showcase how they're actually using it and the amazing work that they're doing and that they're testing and that they're prototyping as a result of this collaboration. So the way that today will work is I'm going to give you first a quick overview of what we're trying to achieve in this collaboration. And then I'm going to hand over to Jose and João, who have joined us today, and they're going to be talking about what has happened so far and the product roadmap in the future. And then we're going to be joined by Graham, Pavel, and Andrew from Digital Guerrilla, who are going to talk through what they've done so far and the lessons learned, and they're going to showcase that to you. So thanks again for joining us, and with that in mind, I'll get started. Now, really, just as a quick refresher, and I like reminding everyone of this, to be honest, because it's at the core of what we're trying to achieve. Really, the way that we see it is today, Excel is the only tool on the market that allows you to reuse the data that you currently have in point solutions. Examples of that could be the likes of Revit. Examples of that could be your CDEs. Examples of that could be ERP solutions and waste management solutions. And regardless of who I am in a project, I'm going to need to reuse this data. And really, right now, the approach is all built off Excel, which then results in a very in many manual workflows, and then results in you having to recreate this data redundantly many times over, which then introduces risks to projects and so on and so forth. Really, we see ourselves as the only flexible and connected platform that you can use to build with data. That then comes with best practice templates. It comes with one-click integrations, as you all know, an example of which you'll be hearing about today. And I think really importantly, we enable third-party collaboration. And that then means that several of your team members and several of your supply chain members or your adjacent third parties can actually contribute and work on the platform. Really, our goal is to enable this to be used by all teams across the asset delivery lifecycle. Ultimately, for example, things like Revit data or data from the common data environment can be used by every single one of these teams and is often used in every one of these trackers in many ways. And what we're working on enabling is you to reuse these in all of these contexts. And quite critically, we always start with information management and with you as information managers and digital managers and BIM managers, because you're really the people who are pushing the industry in this direction. And our goal fundamentally is to free up your time so that you can focus on embedding information management across all of these teams and helping them then deliver better outcomes. Now, we're working with quite the range of players, everyone from supply chain members to owners to multidisciplinary design firms and consultants. And ultimately, we think this means that this gives us an overview of how you all also work with each other and makes sure that we're supporting you in building the right types of solutions. Um, Now, the the first use case that many of you have used is to streamline deliverables tracking. So really, what happens today is you need to have a lot of data sets that currently exist in Excel, and you're able to move these into Morta that then connect with each other, and then that connect with a master tracker that you would have had previously on Excel. And rather than having many different files, you have that in one big table, and that then ultimately communicates via API with the document control systems and the CDEs, or with systems like Power BI. Now, our next community session is going to focus exactly on that, on information delivery planning and tracking. We've already heard, for example, from Powell, who will be also speaking later today, about how they're using it, and you've heard from some of our other community members in previous sessions. But our next one will also be joined by Samuel and Mariano from Mott McDonald, who will share their lessons learned and how they implemented the solution on a subway extension project. And we're really looking forward to that as well. But today, really, the topic at hand is about model data, and model data being difficult to access. What you've always had is, whether it's Revit or whether it's IFC, there are various solutions on the market that enable you to extract data out of Revit to then answer a range of questions. And these questions could be, is my information complete and fit for purpose? It could be, is my information compliant with my design requirements and with my regulatory requirements? It could be, what and how much do I need to order? I need to know what doors that I need, what properties these doors have, in order to then facilitate procurement processes. And then I could ultimately also want to run some analysis, like, what is my cost? What is my carbon footprint? What resources am I going to need to actually build this scope of work? And when many of you have asked us whether it's something that we'll ultimately look to do, and we were considering various approaches. And while speaking with one of the key things that we always knew was we wanted to connect with Revit. We always debated whether we would build our own plugin or not, and so on and so forth. And that's exactly where the collaboration with the DiRoots team came into place. So really, our goal is to help you connect to Revit, extract data from Revit, bring it into Morta's hubs, in order for you to then create all of these reports that you would have needed, and enable your teams to reuse this data in various contexts, and to create various types of analysis. But what many people would do, and what many organizations would do, is they would go and they would build the plugin themselves. We know that there are people who have been doing that for a very long time, and that have very deep expertise in how that gets done. And really, what we encourage you as companies to do, and as our community to do, is not to reinvent the wheel. And much with the same vein, we decided not to reinvent the wheel here, and we decided to go ahead and partner with the DiRoots team, who we're luckily joined by today, and will be talking you through what they've done. So with that, I'm going to introduce Jose and João, who are going to be sharing more. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys, today. Really, really excited about our collaboration, and it's good to have you.
Hello, Mo. Thank you very much for inviting as well on my behalf and João. Anyway, it is a great opportunity as well to not just showcase, what we have done, but also to be part of this great journey and supportive in Morta, not Mo. Yeah, Morta, Mo, the CEO. Exactly. There are problems. Yeah, but indeed, it's a great pleasure for us. And for us as well was adding value to our, free tool and very popular sheet link. So I will let me also introduce a little bit about the roots. Not too much. I don't want to take that boring part. Most of the people already know us quite well for the Revit side, but more than that, the roots is a global, leading customized software company in the industry. We are specialized in understanding and delivering tools for the AEC and manufacturing, within this space. We also, by the way, we are private owned company as today we're going to just mainly talk about the DiRoots one, because that's where we managed to do the integration with these tools. And I will also move to the next slide. So what is DiRoots one? I believe many of you probably heard, you came across that, but just to highlight a few points about DiRoots, like DiRoots one. So what we did, we tried to create a set of tools that we will serve, it will be useful for, let's say, every type of Revit user, regardless of their background. Our famous and number one, I would say, is SheetLink in the Zero to One. Is in fact our first tool that we have delivered and created for the market. Essentially, it's very simple. You know, you can import, export all your non-graphical data, non-geometrical data from Revit, and the great tool is very simple. But one of the things we try to do as well, improve what others couldn't do at that time, it was the user experience. We think we make it very, very clear. We also have our second tool, Family Revisor. Our second tool to be created by our team was focused on mostly initially on the renaming of Revit families, you know, in a simple way. Again, you know, many of the tasks we do in our plugins, it can be done, but just in very traditional workflows or workarounds, which we don't want to do it. We want to do more smart and more easily. Also, we can work with WorkSet, Family Revisor. One Filter as well was our third tool that we launched to the market many years ago. In fact, I forgot to mention, but we are in the industry for 6.5 years. It's a long presence already. But One Filter is also known to be the most advanced, you know, filtering tool for data model checking for Revit. TableGen, which you can also bring, you know, also working with data, but when you don't need to link the data. So you got TableGen to import, you know, spreadsheets or Google Sheets. Exactly. No, not Google Sheets, by the way. The
Not Google Sheets,
spreadsheets.
yeah. Only
Exactly.
spreadsheets.
Only with SheetLink you can do, you know,
Yeah.
the integration with. But yeah, which you can link these as the schedules or drafting views or legends. SheetGenie, which allow you to create, you know, multiple drawing sheets in predefined templates. Of course, you have to predefine a template first before you start this process. Also, he has a tool I love, which is the revision list. Very useful to apply, you know, revisions to several, you know, drawings in simultaneous. Para Manager, that was, you know, no doubt a revolution in the market. Very one of the most popular, you know, tool that we have as well for handling Revit parameters. Point Key, a small tool, you know, for the point clouds, and the reordering. You, if you want to renumber, you know, objects inside Revit, you know, you can use ours as well. We will also be very innovative in some of the tasks that we did as well. On this one, so now just going to SheetLink anyway, because that's the focus as well, integration with Morta IO. So what you can do, you can import, export, you know, the non-graphical data from Revit to spreadsheets or Google Sheet, and also Morta as well nowadays, since a few months back. And also we have a preview mode, which is also a great feature. Sometimes you don't wanna check before you want to print, or even check before you import it back. And that's it anyway from SheetLink. You know, of course, the SheetLink it does much more than, you know, these few words I just said. But again, with the purpose is not to promote our tool. But now I will just pass the word to João so he can talk more about SheetLink and more the integration, which is more familiar than me anyway. But thank you all.
Yeah, exactly. So I will give you like an high level overview of how of the experience in integrating SheetLink with Morta. So the Morta API is very easy to use. It's well documented. So integrating SheetLink with Morta was a straightforward process, and I think it's the only way to survive in the market is to allow easy integration with the other softwares and other data sources. So I'm not a software developer myself, but I was managing this integration. So we didn't find major difficulties. Morta Teams was very helpful. The integration was very smooth, and also a special thanks for Graham and for Digital Guerrilla team because that feedback about how the way they use Morta was critical for the successful integration of these two softwares. And that's all from my side. I think now we will go to the most interesting point, which is actually the workflows.
Exactly. And for that is the Digital Guerrilla is the best team to present that. So we pass over now to Graham and his team. I think it's Pavel. I don't know who's next.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Really, really good to have you. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah, I love the fact that we're collaborating, to be honest, on this. And yeah, I think let's see what the Digital Guerrilla team now has to say around the integration. So thanks a lot, both of you. And we'll be back, and people will still be hearing from you in a second in a panel.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mo.
Sorry, guys, let me just switch people around. Awesome. So now we're joined by Graham, Andrew, and Pavel from the Digital Guerrilla team. And really good to have you guys. Thanks a lot for this. I mean, you commented when we wrote something about it. You commented like you're connecting the dots, and you very much are connecting the dots. So super pleased to have you here, and thanks for joining today.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having us. Well,
I will hand over to you. So I'd love to have you introduce yourselves and really what you're trying to achieve.
So we're Digital Guerrilla, so we turned 7 this year, which is pretty cool. So we've got Pavel and Andrew, who will introduce themselves later. Again, an information management consultancy, currently delivering over 30 projects throughout the UK, worth over £1 billion, which is pretty cool, which represents about 60% of our business. The other 40% is like strategic and training, because we also cover like BSI as well. Again, one of the key things from an information management point of view is, which always seemed like a reactive industry. We were obviously employed to check and validate models to suit clients' information requirements. But again, design teams had to spend a lot of time actually inputting data, uploading them to the CDE, and then we can download and check them, see if they're good or bad, and then send them back to the CDE again for the design to download. So this process takes far too long. So by using like Morta, and especially DiRoots, we've actually been DiRoots, sorry, I keep saying DiRoots, it's DiRoots. Been using DiRoots for a couple of years now, and through Revit and the more integration with Morta just actually made it more sensible if we could actually get a direct link from DiRoots to Morta rather than going through Excel, and then run through our various validation routines, which is all based in Power BI and various Power Query and Excel, but trying to make it much more automated than what it previously was through Power Query. The main reason for doing that as well is coming up with this whole idea of validation as a service, which is something that we're really keen on. Which now, because information management is quite reactive, wouldn't it actually be cool if rather than telling clients, right, we will do one validation during stage 3, 2, stage 4, and 3 or 4 during stage 5, whereas you could just say we'll come in, we'll set up your information management processes, which we do currently, but design teams can validate indefinitely or ultimately unlimited amounts of validations. You could almost hit a button every 5 minutes to actually check if data's actually right or wrong, and we can actually get live readouts. And that's effectively what Andrew and Pavel will actually see next. So we're effectively going from almost like a reactive industry to being very proactive, where we can sit in the background, monitor what's going on with design teams, and then just keep chipping away to make sure they get it right. So again, rather than waiting a month doing a validation and then seeing after doing like 3 or 4 days analysis that they're only 20% compliant, they could effectively hit a button at the beginning of the month and go, right, you're 20% compliant, and then work with them by the end of the month, they're at 100%. And that's what makes us actually really excited with this new product that we're actually developing and also rolling out soon across all our projects as well. So the design teams are actually getting more input to that whole process as well. So without further ado, I'll pass you over to Pavel then, who'll run over some of the TIDP stuff that you've seen previously, and obviously the Revit validation that we're currently working on. And then Andrew will then take you through all the Kobe validation, which Pavel stuff is also built on as well. So over to you, Pavel.
Thanks, Graham. So hi everyone, I'm Pavel Kudosh, and I have been a part of Digital Guerrilla for over 16 months now. And my journey with Morta started with actually working on the task information delivery plan tracking. And we've created a process where we can connect the Morta with different CDEs. For example, we've connected so far SharePoint, ACC, and Viewpoint. And we're basically able to track the deliverables and see if everything has been uploaded to the CDE, and then connect various CDEs and make them connected to each other. So like, for example, check ACC and SharePoint to make sure that everything has been uploaded from contractor's CDE to the client's CDE. And then we started exploring further options on how we could replace our current Revit validation tool, which is mostly based on Excel. And we thought like Morta would be the ideal source to actually do it. So previously we had to export everything to CSV files and load them to Morta. And now, thanks to a connection with DiRoots, we can simply use it as exporting it with SheetLink to Excel, but just exporting it straightly to Morta. And assuming that we have exported our schedule, so this is the multi-category schedule exported from Revit. We have our validations created in Morta, so all validations have been already done in the background. And if we're assuming that one of the design teams have just uploaded their Revit model data to Morta, this gets automatically validated and presented in a dashboard. As you can see, it's not finished, it's just a proof of concept. We have one further developed with the Kobe-based validations, and Andrew will talk about it soon. But if we look at this gets straight away validated and just highlighted everything that is incorrect. And if we move to the schedule, to the schedule itself, I'll just take you through how it actually works. So we have all the columns, and on the right-hand side, we have all the validations. So currently, all these validations are based on the Python scripts, but about 80% of this could be actually achieved through the Morta's native options. But just to improve the readability, we have decided to, for now, just stick with Python and just to be able to present it in a nice readable layout. So if you would like to just review what's incorrect, you could just scroll to the right-hand side and basically go through each column and see what is incorrect. And on the left-hand side, we have a summary of like number of rows incorrect for each column. And obviously this interconnects with the dashboard, which basically presents everything in an easy to read manner. And if you would like to just then go back to the Revit model, you can just try and fix your model, then export the data again to Morta and just make sure that you're moving forward and your actual pass percentage is improving. And we believe this will help to provide better models and pass all the data for each of the stage 4 deliverables. And now I'll just pass to Andrew, who will basically touch about Kobe and our further plans to work with Morta.
Hi, everyone. My name's Andrew. I'm the digital director at Digital Guerrilla. Too many digitals in my title. I've been with Digital Guerrilla now for 4 months, so fairly new to the company, although thrown in the deep end with this R&D. My previous experiences as an architect, so really this idea of clear communication and rapid response to issues is something that's kind of near to my heart, because I spent the last 10 years effectively on the other side of the coin, receiving 80-page reports and having to pass through it, and waiting weeks for those reports to come through. So really, we had, as a team in January, we had a sit down and mapped out exactly what we want to do and how we want this to look, starting from scratch, effectively taking what we have learned over the past 7 years at Digital Guerrilla and morphing it into a holistic approach that effectively takes our attention away from the nitty-gritty of running the reports and more into the analysis, more into the training, because that's what the industry needs right now, is training. It needs the SME level needs a lot more help. So really, we broke it down into, at the top here, this kind of fundamental idea of what information delivery is. So it's incredibly high level. Effectively, the client comes and inputs the requirements, the design team upload their deliverable, that gets validated. The supply chain then, or the contractor then inputs their information against the design team information, updating as necessary. That's also then validated, and then there's some sort of output. Now, as Graham touched upon at the beginning, that is several reports, that is several processes that take quite a while to go from start to finish. What can we do to give better visibility of that all the way through? And how do we speed up these validation points? And equally, how do we help the design team deliver the information quicker as well? And we've found ourselves time and again going back to Morta as the solution. So if we look, say, at design information, for example, we have a complete set of databases now that we can generate through Excel to go to Revit, for example, to pull out exactly what unit class versions we need for each project. That can auto-generate within a button click. We have all our IFC in here as well. So we can generate the requirements for the consultants and the tools they need to develop it. That then kind of morphs into the approach to Morta itself. So Morta, as you've seen before, this is my take on their diagram they already have, effectively, is it takes a whole bunch of different inputs. Mo has said in the past to myself, I don't know if he said it publicly, but they are different from a lot of other of these supplier kind of IT solutions. They don't try and do everything. So you go to one platform and it does everything okay. Morta decided to focus on what they're good at and bring the good folks like DiRoots and others on board, and then link in their integrations to various different platforms. I've actually not included all the CDEs. Didn't have enough room in my diagram for what they've integrated. So the idea is we pull the information where we want to pull it in. From anywhere to allow flexibility within the industry. We have Morta then powers that information, allow additional capture of that information as well. A good one is the contractor supply chain and entering kind of product data templates. And then how do we get that out? So effectively the end goal here is a bit like this, and what we want to achieve. So there's kind of two sides to this. There's the project information requirements and the asset information requirements. So as Pavel touched on in the past, we've got PIRs integrating into master information delivery plans, which can then potentially generate containers within Viewpoint or AConnect and track that kind of stuff, validate it all. And alongside that, we have our information delivery schedules from the client. They upload information there that's then used to validate against any other kind of information that's uploaded, IFC, for example, or even just the Excel. Morta then has demonstrated the ability to extract things like IFC from those viewpoints, from those CDEs. We could then generate from that. We could validate that and generate from that a list of PDTs for the supply chain. You could then enter it on Morta. Again, it gets validated on Morta, and then at the end, that all kind of comes together and merges together into an asset register. And the beauty about Morta and the way this works is you'll have visibility of that entire process all the way through. You don't have to wait till the end of the project before you see how complete something is. You can see it develop over time. So to kind of show you some of the more slightly further advanced, I would definitely not say complete at this point, but further advanced kind of validations we have. We effectively taken the same idea of what we've done with DiRoots and Revit and did the same thing with Kobe spreadsheets. So you'll see here, it looks fairly similar because it's based on the same template, but this is the space dashboard, and this allows us to effectively use the Python scripts and things we've developed to the right of the standard tables you upload. And this allows you to then see very quickly not only where it's failing, but why it's failing and potentially how to fix it as well. So we can bake in all the stuff that we would used to do and communicate through, email, through reports, and have this live update. And you can see here, this is tracking through time as well. So we can actually go back in time and see how that looked and how it's progressing overall. So no longer do we need to call up the client and say, no one's doing anything. They can see straight away that something's getting done, something's not getting done, and we're getting there. 30% looks a lot better when you were at 20% last week. So it's the idea of communicating that a lot quicker. And you can also go down then and drill into each of these tables as Pavel has kind of demonstrated. And you can go over and see some of these checks. Now, the reason this doesn't look finished yet is 2 weeks ago, I believe now, we kind of organized a call with Morta to look at how we're doing it now and how best to optimize it. And they went, well, hold your horses. About 80% of this can be done natively. So we took the decision to make it all, as Python said, in Python, to make it a bit more kind of contiguous and the same processes for every validation route. But in time, we are looking to bake a lot of this stuff into the functionality of Morta so that we don't have to have Python on the right. We can have these options baked into the columns, etc. But the beauty about how we're approaching this is this allows quite a lot of extensibility and functionality within different rule sets as well. So you can see down here, we've got validation rules. So this is effectively us saying, per stage. We've got various regexes that we can check against various things. So we can actually quickly change what stage we're validating against, etc., by just changing stage 4 to stage 3, etc., or the other way around. But it also then means that we're only validating the information we want to at a very specific stage as well. So all of this allows us to effectively generate a set of instructions and a set of criteria for validation upfront, and then everything is just automated from that. So we could develop our briefing tools or project information standards from this as well, and everything kind of just sits on one holistic platform and talks to everything else. And that's really the beauty about Morta, is the interoperability of tables and being able to have one single source of information that either pulls from other places, but Morta sits there centrally as the kind of the single source of truth, as it was in the center of all these different various platforms. And hopefully the final result here, and this is something that was hastily put together as a kind of a quick vision of where we're going in the future. We have looked at using the latest information that we've validated and then going to there we go, and then bringing that into an an asset register. So this is not a fully validated Kobe. It's very high level at the minute. There's stuff missing here, but effectively this is pulling information directly from Morta, so you can quickly go and see, okay, where is that buffer vessel? It's in these 2 buildings, etc., and you can start to pull in information there as well. So you could actually start to disconnect the data from the models too. So in terms of pulling information from the supply chain, we don't have to start having that awful discussion about who's going to adopt the information into their models. How do we get the IFC out at the end of it? Eventually, what we can do is actually pull this information into Morta through any means we want to, and have that generate from Morta into IFC, into our O&Ms, into our asset registers as well. So again, it's going back to the idea of full visibility from the outset, starting off with a set of rules, allowing people to upload whatever they need to upload, validating, and then translating over to the final result without us effectively having to lift a finger from the start, other than to help train and support, which is where I think the focus really needs to be at this point. So that idea of information management as a service really gets encapsulated on the platform. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you. That was amazing. Thanks everyone for sharing, and honestly, it's just amazing to see what you guys have done. A lot of this happened. I'm gonna bring everyone on stage. So if you just give me 1 second, but I'm gonna remove us. Have I? I think Graham is the one I'm missing. Like missing someone. Sorry, I'm figuring out this whole stage thing. But no, thanks everyone. Thanks for everything you've shared. I'm just gonna give everyone some context first before we go into discussion. Obviously, many of you know we've been planning for this session for the last a month. So we announced it a few weeks ago because we were really excited about the work we're doing. And many of you as community members have been asking us, can you pull data from Revit? And we were always telling you, no, we're not going to do it, but we're collaborating with people who are going to enable us to do it. And we just wanted to put this out there for all of you. But what actually also happened is a week ago, I got an email from Andrew asking us questions around like the validations and how many script columns we can handle and things like that. And we jumped on a call, and quite honestly, I'm rarely blown away. But I was blown away by what I saw, and like the level. I think I posted about this a few weeks ago, but I really like people who just hack things together and just get it done in any way that they can. They like without necessarily knowing every single feature set that we had, just got it done, and that then changed the whole direction of this like this session specifically, because we're like, why are we going to speak? Like Graham, Powell, and Andrew are much better than us at like actually showing the art of the possible. So that's just some context. It did actually change. Initially, you were going to hear from me, and luckily for everyone, you didn't. So yeah, thanks a lot again, guys, for sharing all of this. I think it was absolutely amazing. Just want to see, to be honest, first, Jose and João, what do you think about what you just saw from the Digital Guerrilla team?
Well, it's much better than expected. Anyway, that's the problem. When we do tools, we do our trials, but when someone explains the workflows and everything is taken in place, I think is another level. And but I know Graham for a long time, so I know what capable he is and his team. So when it comes to data, even we have some conversations, even questions we did to him to explain to us. So I know you are in good hands on that side, but definitely it looks good. And looks good. More than that is this what we're showing today here is the integrations of different tools, which is important. I think is very important. It's what I like, because there are tools out there like ours. It could be someone else, but there are tools out there why you need to recreate from scratch, especially when they are, like our tool is free, so we can make integrations. Your case is an example. Hopefully you can inspire more people to come to us to make these kind of integrations. So thank you, Mo, first of all, as well, for the opportunity as well that you gave us to us. But that's what I think. John, you wanna add
Yes,
anything
no,
else?
I subscribe. It was great to see like from Revit, Sheet Link to Morta and to Power BI, and to see all these overall view of the how the project is, what is the status, how are the data requirements. And I even liked a lot the sentence that Andrew said, like sharing this with clients is great, like seeing 30% the next week when the previous week was 20%. It's great. So yeah, I think it's great, even because I believe, Mo, that you even saw things that you didn't even know that were possible, right? It was like when you open your tools to when you create APIs, when you allow integration with other tools. I know people get creative, people find out great solutions. And I think it's really inspiring from
even with us, João, we have a lot of people that use
Yeah.
our tools in different ways we didn't expect.
Yeah.
So, and that's
Yeah.
the purpose of software, is creating these open doors to others to come
Yeah.
along. So I even suggestions, we're very keen, to hear suggestions from the audience as well in terms of what we can do and to improve, because that's the only ones they can tell us the direction and tell us exactly where we need to go to tackle. I won't say all the problems, but at least the ones we can solve, or at least the ones we can focus anyway, especially in these two integrations as well. But thank you all.
Again, it's finding out what tools work and how you actually bring them out. Again, I said in the taglines, like, now we're here to join the dots, and there's so many different ways of doing things. So if you can actually pull different people together and actually come up with something that's actually pretty cool, then I think we've actually done our job. And I think in this case, I think it's actually it's quite special, because again, previously when I started doing the validations about 5 years ago, I was using like Revit and Dynamo to actually pull schedules together, and then you guys brought your tool out, which made so much easier to actually export massive amount of data. So the next iteration of that is basically, well, we're now using Morta. How can we actually join these two guys up? And it worked. So it's just great to see how you can actually just take two different systems and in a conversation and then join the dots, and then it actually makes life so much easier for everyone. So yeah, it's been a good step in the right direction, put it that way, which is really good there.
And hopefully not to gush too much or make Mo blush in any way, shape, or form, but I've done a lot. I've tried to do a lot of integrations with a lot of platforms in the past, and it's been, a story of compromise, a story of kind of bashing my head against the wall. With Morta in the last 3 weeks, I think it has been, I went, well, I kind of want to do this. Click a button, oh, there you go. That's how you do it. The documentation is there, the API is there, the links are there for it to be easily exploited. It's not hidden behind, layers of abstraction. It's all there out in the open and in front. Which was great. It was a pleasure just to put this stuff together and not have to think too hard about how it's done. It is right there.
I'm not blushing, but the tech team probably is. Yeah, no, it's actually like it's for us, it's amazing. Like, I mean, it's amazing to hear that from people who are like actually trying to use the API. There was this initially, we used it a lot as a team, but what's happening now more and more is we're seeing you all use it, and there are multiple examples on the call here. I know, Powell, you had done the same thing for the IDPs and Power BI and experienced the API. Andrew, you've been doing a number of things on a mix of Power Query. Obviously, there's the plugin itself and how it got developed. So now I have more confidence, and we as a team have more confidence that it is actually, it's not just us that can use it. There are people who are using it in all shapes of forms, and then are going off and creating absolutely amazing things as a result of the fact that it's like interoperable, and that's been baked into the thinking from the get-go. So really, really appreciate you saying that, and I'm glad that that's been the experience. That's been the experience so far, really.
I think there's a good story around, like, all this isn't possible without one specific Python package, for regex checking. And 4 weeks ago, that wasn't on Morta. So I messaged saying, can we get that package? And within, I think, 3 days, there you go. There's the package available to use. There's not very many companies that would turn around something like that so quickly. So all of this wouldn't be possible without that kind of one package, and it was responded to straight away. So commend to the team. Yeah,
I think the tech team is just going to have a party with everything you're saying at this point.
I'm just buttering them up for all the other stuff I'm going to ask them to do in the next couple of months.
I think it's the fact that Mortar's willing to engage. I think it's probably the good thing more. It's your tech team, like Ali and they're just good to actually get in contact and sit by meeting, discuss, and then implement. It's like I'll call it like non-coders is what I would suggest we are from a pure technical point of view. So being able to actually reach out and go, this is what we want to do, and go, right here, there's a new button, you can do that now. That's brilliant, and I think that will help so much more people get onto your platform and actually be able to do some pretty cool stuff. It's like you're taking all the hard work out of it, which is the beauty of what Mort's trying to achieve.
I think as well to persuade more people to look at it. We talked about Python a lot, I didn't know Python in January. The stuff we have done in Python is so straightforward because of the way the packages are arranged and the way you reference things in the table make it very straightforward to use the most, and I mean the most basic of basic Python to do what we were trying to do. So yeah, I highly recommend if you're just wanting to learn Python. Morta is a very good place to start to try and learn a wee bit of that as well, because as I said, January couldn't use it.
But when I was starting working with Morta and just playing about with the TIDPs, I was basically on a call with Mirna every day, and she would just be showing me some simple Python scripts and just how basically to do this, how to do this, and just whenever I needed someone from Morta, they were always there, and you guys are always willing to help, and I feel this is just amazing.
Thanks a lot, everyone. I think just to comment, it's one of those discussions, like at the end of the day, it comes down to what are we trying to achieve as a company, to be honest. And when we then hear of people who are trying to do what we want you to be achieving, and then we get feedback that pushes us more in this direction, like examples that have ranged from integrations, like Pavel, you've seen the evolution from like things that took time to set up an integration to no-code integrations now. You then gave us a lot of feedback on like you obviously then told us you wanted to integrate with Revit, and then we got introduced to the DiRoots team, and then we were like, this is exactly what we want to unlock. So we did that. Then it got pushed in the direction of the first iteration. You had certain challenges in what you were trying to achieve. So you went, can I do 1, 2, 3? We then made improvements on that basis, and the team from like DiRoots was really cooperative too, and then made the changes that were necessary. But ultimately, it's because I think everyone here is on the same page. Every single person here is trying to make data and construction more accessible, and is trying to enable its reuse. And when things fit in within these principles, it then means it's the very top of the priority of what we're doing. I feel like you have something to say.
Yeah, it's like I said in my intro, it's trying to, information management is a very reactive industry. So it's trying to make it as proactive as possible. And again, everyone's too busy trying to understand IFC, Uniclass, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So we can actually present data in a colourful format that people can actually, it's a lot easier to understand. So you colorize data, it actually makes it a lot easier to understand, and it makes it much more engaging as well. And this ability of just, well, I don't know how good mid-levels are, hit a button, there you go, you're 20%, hit another button, you're 25%, hit another button, you're 40%, this is awesome. So it's actually just showing that whole progression actually makes it a lot more easy as well. So we can just get a call, somebody can hit a button, we can look at it live, see exactly where things are wrong. You go and tick box here, input this data here, right, rerun it and see it live on the screen. Okay, you're actually jumped forward 3%, great. Go and do that for the next 40 assets, and we'll come back and check you tomorrow. So that, I think that just gives, it's just empowering more design teams to actually deliver much more better, because they're too busy trying to deliver drawings and models, and they don't maybe have the technical expertise to validate all the data. Maybe they'll have a few key people in their organization. So it's actually empowering everybody to actually deliver better, which I think is actually quite a powerful message.
It's that kind of gamification of the work, isn't it? Making it a challenge to get a better score. I think a lot of people like to see a big green box than, a table of 1,000 bits of data. And I think that's going to become, that theory works not just for Kobe and IFC and all these more abstract and obscure things within the construction industry, but it will work for, carbon as well, as you mentioned, Mo, and all these other bits and pieces. If you can see a clear progression of information as it comes in and see it develop in front of your eyes, like asset registers, things like that, is a much more kind of a much more realistic kind of idea and view of what you want to see. And it means it's the McLennan curve, isn't it, as well, that if you can see where it's going from the start, to course correct early, and you can save money, rather than getting it all handed over at the end and realizing your building's £20 million over cost, it's got too much carbon in it and your asset register doesn't make sense. So it's good to see all these things develop as you go so you can course correct, because no one gets it right from the outset.
No, I think that's important as well. I think everybody needs to almost now take a step back and actually have quite an honest discussion. We're not here to actually tell people that what you're doing is really bad. We're actually here to help you. But people need to appreciate when they sign up to deliver BIM Level 2, ISO 19650, UK BIM Framework, whatever the deliverables are actually called, you actually are engaged to actually deliver this information in a very specific way. And if you're working in DI or MOG, various other companies, they have very specific data requirements. And information management and the whole validation to actually prove you actually are delivered to actually meet these requirements. So people, you get a lot of companies might push back, but at the end of the day, if you're being employed to deliver this, then unfortunately you have to deliver. So you just try to make it as easy as possible to actually make sure you actually hit these targets. And rather than keep saying, that's bad, come back next week, that bad, come back next week. We're actually here to help you. And again, using all these tools, we'll try and make it as more user-friendly and engagement as possible to actually make sure you actually achieve what those requirements are. And also it's pretty cool because it actually gives clients almost like a live feedback, because we've got various clients where we're working numerous projects. They're pretty cool. We can actually give them a dashboard and go, right, here's all your projects. This is where the stages they're at. And this is the various levels of completion that people are as well. And again, with Andrew, with asset management system, that can be a whole bit at the end as well. This is how percentage completion to your own end delivery manual, which is all getting delivered on Morta as well. And then you can export that and deliver it in another format, So it's just keeping everything in one place. Again, this whole idea of a single source of truth is something that's really been talked about, but it's never really been achieved. I think through Morta is probably something you can actually really achieve it, because you can link in various databases and systems and information, just present it in one unified format to suit the client requirements. I think is actually pretty cool.
To expand on what Graham just said there, I think people misinterpret a single source of truth, like everything needs to be in one place, when in reality, everything just needs to be visible in one place.
That's it.
So,
various data sources,
and that's effectively the kind of Morta's whole thing is, we're not a master of everything. We're good at aggregating data. So where can we aggregate it from? And then within the last, 6 months, you've got double the amount of integrations. So more power to you.
And more coming.
And allow me, Mo, to just add a quick point, because one thing is critical, and we've seen that, the non-graphical, non-geometrical requirement is growing, and people is asking, a lot of people is asking a lot of things that doesn't make sense. Let's be realistic as well. But the key point I want to highlight here, because I know, for example, DiRoots has been already expressed in BEPS, for example. It's nice for the information management teams to also define these workflows, make their life, everyone's easier, creating small templates, like for schedules for Revit. Why not? If it's not the information you want, because I've seen cases with clients, they want their own information, which is fine. They're paying for that. So then, the information management teams needs to facilitate, and there are a lot of tools, like, for example, ours anyway, and now Morta. Why not propose these in BEPS and define these steps by steps? So make it easier. And whenever you can define some kind of small template, people can copy and paste to at the end. So we know, and these validation processes as well, which we know, for example, you mentioned, you guys, you're doing a lot of Python scripting, but this is important because at the end, there's a lot of frustration nowadays as well, sometimes. Because people don't understand and they need help. Okay, but anyway, information management, the managers, please help them. That's my message. In the last point. But in this case, I know you use good hand, Graham. I know you. So. There's a lot of them outside that they are wild, they're asking.
Yeah, it's something we're trying to concentrate on, is make sure you're only asking for what the client actually needs and not what he thinks he needs, or deliver formats in a way that it's easier for you to check, which maybe certain people do. We've always been of the opinion of, here's the data set, here's all the guidance material, just put it in your model and then export, and then everything should be okay, and then we're here to help you. So just try and make that as easy as possible. Like I said, it's just making sure you are delivering exactly what the client needs in a format he's happy with as the ultimate goal. But I suppose cutting through all that, at the end of the day, we're just trying to build something. So that's the biggest thing. A lot of people, they look at information management and they think that almost concentrate too much. At the end of the day, we're still here to try and build something, so don't lose sight of that. I think it's because information management is data, is black and white, yes and no. We're still trying to build something. So does everything need to get delivered at the one time? You can do all your drawings and maybe fall on with copying data at a further date. That's open for discussion. But at the end of the day, as long as we're here to build something and make it as good as possible, that's the main thing.
I have, to be honest, so much to say, but I'm just trying to not. I just want you all to speak, and I'm trying to be quiet. But I just want to quickly comment, to be honest, on two things, because they're actually like very important for us, and it's just amazing to hear like the conversation gravitate towards there. First, and Graham, it's not your first time saying this. We're there to build something. The problem is contracting and construction has turned into administration and a lot of manual workflows that are just there for process for the sake of complying with stuff. We're not there to just comply with 19650. We're not there to just comply with a standard. We're there to deliver a building successfully, and ultimately everything is there to serve that. And that's what. That's exactly what you're saying. We're there to build something, and the more we can streamline that process, the more we can focus on getting successful outcomes, and that's at the heart of everything we're trying to do and trying to unlock. So I absolutely love everything I'm hearing in regards to that. But then the second is Jose's point around data. And non-graphical data. I love actually the way you make it very clear. We're talking about the non-graphical information because everyone has been obsessed with the graphics.
Yeah.
But the real value for me, I worked in a contractor before. When I come to procure, when I come to do costing, when I come to do resource mobilization, when I come to do tracking of any sorts, that's data. And that's really what's there that's what BIM should be about, or information management should be about. And I'm really glad, to be honest, to see this becoming more and more of a topic, and to have champions really for this topic, because I think that's the most important bit. That's how we can actually help ensure that our projects are delivered successfully and in the most efficient way possible. I'm just conscious of time. I think we're drawing to a close. So I just want to see, to be honest, if anyone has any final thoughts or anything burning that they'd like to say.
I'm good on my side, thank you.
Yeah, we mostly said it all.
Yeah, exactly.
No, awesome. Again, thank you all so much. Thanks for joining. We're really glad to be partnered with both of your organizations, to be honest, because on the one side, we don't want to be doing the integrations, but on the other side, we think where most software has gotten it wrong is they've tried to take on the job and define the process, whereas we think there are people who understand these processes much better, like yourselves at Digital Guerrilla. So really, really excited to be working with both of you. Really glad to have you both within our community, and thanks today for sharing all of your thoughts and your experiences with us.
No worries. Cheers. More thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank
Have a
you
good
all.
day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
And thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm just gonna leave it with this has been an absolutely great session. We really want to make these as useful as possible for you. It was great to see that people like William commented and shared that they appreciated this use case and have learned something from it. We'd really like you to engage and to ask questions and learn from each other, so that you're not each reinventing the wheel. So we highly encourage that. And I just want to again reiterate that we have our next session coming up in March. This is going to be a monthly session, as we mentioned, where we share lessons learned. The next one really is going to be about information delivery planning and tracking, and we're fortunate in that we're going to be joined by Samuel and Mariano from Mott McDonald, who are going to be sharing their experiences on using it for linear infrastructure projects. I think I was actually on a session with them the other day, and they showed me, and again, they blew me away with the types of things that they've done. Really, we're just really very excited to have them, and you'll see a lot more about that next time. But again, thanks for everyone who made the time to join today. We look forward to engaging with you further and hope that these have been useful. Any feedback that you have, please do send them to me. And just again, I'd like to thank everyone who joined us today, from both DiRoots and from Digital Guerrilla, and for having them as partners on this journey. Thanks everyone, and have a good day.